Every successful partnership thrives on a shared vision. Whether it's building a family, pursuing career goals, or creating a dream lifestyle, aligning your aspirations as a couple sets the foundations for a long-term partnership. In this episode, we'll talk about how to define your goals together, navigate differences, and ensure that your vision grows with your relationship. Let's jump right in. What's a vision?
Yeah, a vision in simple terms is the ability for you to look far ahead into the future. You know, some countries plan like 100 years into the future. Even we have the vision 2030, the sustainable
2040.
2040. The sustainable
It's actually 2030.
The sustainable
SDGs.
development goals. Yeah, so it's important to plan ahead.
Yeah. Why is it important to plan ahead?
Because once you have a plan, then you can organize your steps and you're more guaranteed to achieve that plan. So organizing those steps means coming up with maybe objectives. Like, okay, fine, my plan in the next 10 years is maybe to have a company and build a business. So what does that require me to do right now, today? So it's important that you break down that big vision into smaller achievable goals where now we will have the objectives that today I am going to call or connect with someone who has done that company before and just get, some information about how that company runs. And then tomorrow, maybe I'll meet them over lunch and begin to form some kind of partnerships with people that can help me. And so if you break it down into small achievable goals, there's a higher chance that you will attain that vision that you've set than if you just sit and say, oh yeah, I'm hoping that maybe in the next 10 years something will come. Like, that's not how life works. It won't just land. You have to work it slowly, bit by bit.
It also allows you and your partner to be on the same page and tries to clear out some of the problems that may arise. Because when you're facing financial problems, and yes, you're going to have some bumps on the way, but because you have a plan, you have a vision, you see where you're going to go. This is temporary. What's happening, what's going on is temporary. Yes, I may not be having a job, but we've said 2025, we need to be somewhere. Now I'm putting in the work. As long as I'm putting in the work, you don't have to feel insecure that I'm doing nothing, that the future is uncertain, that things are not going to be fine. We have a plan. We say it by this time. So if I'm putting in the work and you see me putting in the work, then you can be confident that I'm going to make something of our marriage.
Yeah. That's true. But also I've seen so many people don't even have a vision for themselves and let alone a vision for the marriage, which is kind of problematic because you need to have a common vision if you are to align and work together towards a certain, point or goal. Yes, everybody has to have their independent visions aligned together, and if you don't have that, that's where you hear stories where I heard of a story where this couple got married, they were in love. It was a lavish wedding, posh, her dream wedding, and then they get into the marriage and the guy wants to settle and have babies, and she wants to go abroad and study and further her education. Yep, the marriage didn't last. Yes, because their visions are completely different. He wants a family and she wants to further her education. So if your visions are not sort of aligned, or if none of you is willing to make a compromise and say, okay, you come to a compromise and say, well, I can't have a baby now, but let me give you 2 years. And yes, I know you wanted to take 5, but can you make it 2? So that everybody, is sacrificing something and coming to a middle ground so that you can work.
Yeah, it's very, very important because I remember when we started discussing about vision back in our first year of marriage. I remember we didn't have a child in the first year. We decided not to conceive in the first year of marriage because we felt like, okay, we need to get to know each other and also straighten up maybe our finances as well. So vision plays a very, very important role in also the longevity, how you build that relationship for the lifetime that you guys are going to spend with each other. Now, this conversation needs to begin even before you even get married. You need to begin understanding first of all what are this person's values, in a sense.
Yeah.
Now from there, then it's also important to also have your own personal vision. Even before you even get married or even date, you should actually have your own personal vision. You as you, what is your personal vision? Right? So we've talked to people, we've talked to some people who when it comes to their visions, there's a lot of misalignment, and then because this one's vision is like this and this one's vision is like this, there's always conflict. Absolutely. In a sense. Absolutely, yeah. And that even brings even more issues into like the whole equation. So if you to understand this person's vision and say, for example, if you're dating and you could ask a question, what do you see yourself doing for the next 10 years? Right? Okay, maybe the answer then next 20 years, next 50 years, you get to see what they're really, really into, in a sense. So that's also a very good question to also understand, okay, is this the kind of person that I might want to get married to? Right? This person's vision could be probably robbing banks, maybe trafficking people. That's maybe the vision is to get as much money as possible. And then you ask them the question like, how are we going to get as much money as possible? And they still don't know.
And that's why I'm saying it's very nice for someone to tell you their vision, but most times when I've had conversations with guys saying, I want to have rentals and have apartments, then you ask him, so how are you getting there? What goals or strategies are you laying down so that you can get there, but doing them, executing them little by little, day by day? So in summary, what did you do today to achieve that vision 10 years in the future? And you find they're just doing nothing but hoping and praying that somehow things will work out. Like maybe next year, if I get a job.
They're going through life as it comes.
So it doesn't help if someone just has a vision, but is not executing bit by bit every single day. So still, you have to break that vision down into what are the objectives that are achievable. So they have to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, reproducible, and time sensitive. Meaning that I'm going to do this for the next 1 week. In the next 1 week, this is what I'll be doing. I'll be making phone calls. And then after that 1 week, the other month will be maybe for doing my market research, reading up on articles on this company and this business. And then this year, I'm dedicating it to collecting and saving capital. Like it has to have timelines for it to actually be something.
One thing I can say about vision, like if you want to achieve something, it's very, very important that you have kind of like some kind of program that you follow. This comes to is it routines, habits? Okay, I'm trying to remember the book because I read Atomic Habits, and it explains how that if you want to change yourself, if you want to change who you are, you have to set about like cues. When I say cues, these are like things that you do that almost never change in your daily life, and they lead you towards the goal that you want to achieve. So so if you have a goal, sit down and think about what you should be doing every day to reach those goals.
Absolutely.
Every day, what should I be doing? Should I be waking? Should I be sleeping until 2 p.m.? If I want to if I want to make a lot more money, every Friday I need to be going out to networking events and talking to more people. Like set about these habits that you can continuously do. And you see, sometimes you have a very big goal that you're thinking about. You know what you want to achieve, but you don't know how to get there. But if you sit down and set about these habits, then you have steps to take. You know, if I constantly do this, you're going to reach there. For example, now content creation. I've been making videos for a long time, but for me to reach the level of creativity that I am now, I had to there's a period where I set it up for myself that I was going to be putting out a video every week. Every week I was putting out a video. So in that cycle, I was able to learn video editing, was able to just perfect my skills and also understand the field. also understand the field and understand how things go and how I can get clients, all those different things. So it's the same thing for like when you're in marriage, when you're in any kind of like dating field, you have to be able to like set about stages. Stages. They're like as if you're climbing a stair, but like just taking a step at a time.
That's true. But also, when you go out on a date with someone and you're asking them, so what are your plans? You're not going to, in a casual way.
Yeah.
What are your plans maybe for the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? You're asking. And it's very easy for someone to tell you, in the next 10 years, I'll be driving, I'll have like 10 apartments, But then when you ask them, so how are you getting there? Then you see people begin to fumble and be like, oh, well, I'm still waiting. That's where you see the red flags. That's where you see that this person talks a big game. We have people that talk big games, but execution, zero. So in that book you mentioned, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he talks about how to form a new habit. And he talked about one particular one that was so interesting about sandwiching habit that you're used to or comfortable with the new one that you want to achieve. For example, you're doing content creation. So if you find yourself at a point where like, it's hard. Like we all find it hard at one point or another to get yourself up and do what you need to do to get to your vision. So he says that you can put it in between things you love. For example, if you love playing, I don't know, let's say you love playing soccer, you can say, I have a match at 6 p.m., but before I go for this match, I must have edited at least one video. So if I edit one video, then my reward will be playing soccer. So if you use the reward system that the psychologist Freud, that famous psychologist, comes up with that system, the reward system, then somehow your body now begins to enjoy the content creation because right after it, there's a treat, you get to play soccer. So you can actually, even though it's hard to create a new habit, you can actually form a new habit that you can do consistently to achieve your vision.
Yeah, if you want to get closer with your partner, you can create habits around that. Most of us men think we are too busy to like pay attention to our partners in a sense. In the beginning, it's all chasing.
Yeah.
And after the chasing, it becomes very, very like normal. It becomes normal. And now you need to start putting in steps to, get your partner more interested. Because, I don't know, I think there's a book I read where they talk about like relationships. It's not just the first time that you're meeting the person that you put in the effort. And it's where most men go wrong. The first time is where you put the effort, but then later on, because this person is familiar, you're familiar with this person, you ignore now putting in the effort. But now if you can create like habits, things that you do together.
To sort of keep chasing, but then you create different habits.
That chasing goes on, even when you're already like 4 years down the road, it keeps on going. Once the chasing stops like this, your relationship is done. You start ignoring one another. You talk less to one another. You're always saying, I'm busy, I have work. But if you just set up a habit, you're like, every Friday we go out, I take my wife out, we go out to this place and we eat something nice, or we cook food together. Just something that can regenerate that
attraction.
Yeah, that attraction.
I'll just talk a bit more on visions. So it's very important to have a personal vision, and then it's important to have a family vision. So the moment you get married, form a family vision. So the family vision is both your visions combined together. What do you want to see? And it's very important that you plan generationally. Don't just say, for me, our vision is in our lifetime. Right, that for us, we want to just buy land, right? So that is your vision, and just construct a house. So let's say, for example, that might be your vision or your family vision. So, but go beyond that. Think about your children. Think about your grandchildren. Think about your great grandchildren. What do you want to see passed down to them? So, for example, when me and my wife got together, we realized that we didn't come from families that were very entrepreneur. Our parents maybe were not very entrepreneur. My parents tried business, but it didn't really work out as well, right? And also from her side as well. So they focus more on education. So we said, okay, what vision do we want to see? Because we see that the school system teaches us to be a certain way, but it's not necessarily like the right way to live life. I would say there are so many aspects are about life that we were not taught in school. So we said, what are we going to do with our kids? We said we're going to buy books. So at home we have like some books, and we have a small family library, and we are being intentional about teaching them how to read those books, right? So right now they can't really read much. 6 years old, right, and 2 years old. But right now they are learning how to read. So the idea is that once they learn how to read, then they should be able to read the books that we have in our house. So that's number one. Then another thing, we've set out to make sure that we do business, something that can be transferred to our children, right? Yeah. So we are running Zantu, right? We're also running Lila Haven as well.
Yes, so Lila Haven is a mental wellness platform that does art therapy. So we're integrating fun into mental wellness. So if you have like events that you're hosting and you want your people to, heal, you have people that are going through stuff, you want them to have fun, but you want them to heal, you invite us and we facilitate art therapy sessions at an affordable price and also bring that healing to the community. You can find us at www.lilahaven.zantu.com.
Nice. What is Zantu?
So Zantu, we're basically a technology consultancy company. The idea is that we help organizations, especially the ones that are building digital products or software applications of any sort, right? So we come in to be technology leaders to help guide them and streamline their processes. So our main product offering is what we call Chief Technology Officer as a service, where we come in as a consultant and help you create a roadmap for your product, see how you can build the product the right way. Then the other two services are we also do software development, and we also train your software engineers, though our main product offering is actually the consultancy, the city as a service, so you come in to lead in that direction. Yes.
These are two different startups.
Absolutely.
It gets me curious. What is your vision? What is your vision, both of you?
Are you asking
because you want to integrate the kids into business, right?
Yes.
And they're two different businesses. What is the aim here?
The aim is to raise them into...
Or is it just financial, like the startups are there just to like make ends meet? Or
but also to teach the children how to be entrepreneurial. When our son is playing around, we ask him, what do you want to be in future? And then he says all these kinds of things, and we tell him, what about being a businessman or an entrepreneur? The word entrepreneur is still kind of big for him, but we're trying to tell him that being a businessman is also not bad, and just doing this so that our children can grow up seeing us, because children don't copy what you tell them. They don't hear, but they copy what they see you doing. So if they see you being an entrepreneur, then they'll be an entrepreneur. So we have to become what we want our children.
With a wellness startup, I think you're trying to train them to be more like emotional.
Absolutely. Yes.
With their partners, with the people around them.
As well, and to do self-reflection and meditation. They do affirmations and, they repeat, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am wise, and they do affirmations for them. So,
Yeah. So,
Also the other bit is to create value in our society. So, in as much as we're building these businesses so that we can transfer them to our kids or teach them how they ought to go in the future, because at the end of the day, having one salary doesn't really help much. Because where we're heading in the world, we have inflation and rising costs each and every other day. So the idea here is that if you can create value, if you can help people, if you can help solve people's problems, then you don't have to struggle in life to to make ends meet. You don't have to struggle if you can actually solve problems. So that ability to teach them to think beyond the money, but also think at the point where I can solve a challenge here, right? And this is how I actually ought to go in that direction. So that would leave them in a much better position than we were, in a sense, because at the end of the day, you have salaries, but probably it's not enough. And then you have dreams for the future at the end of the day. I think you were trying to ask a question about our visions, was it?
No, I wanted to.
Oh, that's the startups.
No, like she was explaining about the goals of these businesses for the kids, and I wanted us to talk about just creating visions for our children. Yeah.
For me, the best way I think you should come up with helping your children come up with visions for themselves, right? If I'm answering your question.
For themselves, and also you as a parent, how can you get them to at least I know parents have an idea, or you have a vision for your child. So how do you get them to achieve that vision that you have for them and also for themselves? Much as they may clash, your kid may not want to be a doctor. They may clash, but when they identify themselves and they identify something that they like, how can you adjust to suit that?
So just be a very just participate
in their lives.
Participate in their lives. That's the idea. Our son likes music a lot. We had started taking him to music school to learn the keyboard, right? So he hasn't gone to the keyboard lessons in a while, but we plan to take him next year again. So one thing that we've been able to do is today, before we came, we were actually able to just sit in our bed and just invite the children over and then just play some music like karaoke and then just sing a lot. So he likes this song Yellow by Coldplay, right? So we keep singing.
But then again, song. It's his favorite song, so don't change it.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But she's also very, very intentional about bringing her fun and being like, hey, let's just do karaoke in a sense. So be very participatory in their children's lives. Then our daughter Precious, I noticed for the past 2 days she likes cooking and she likes helping out with housework and things like that. So like, hey, Precious, what have you done today? So we've done this. Okay, so what are you cooking? That sort of stuff. Then you're like, okay, so go with your auntie and then you go and cook in the kitchen. You learn what is going on because she's probably interested in that. So you reach a point maybe when she's no longer interested in that anymore. Maybe she's into something else and be like, hey, so you just inquire and be like, why do you like that? So we keep asking ourselves questions. Why do you like music? Why do you keep liking that? That sort of thing. So we can understand their point of view in a sense, but participate. And also, us as parents, our job is just to be as enablers. To just say, hey, this is what you like? Okay. Maybe I can get you a mentor. Maybe I can get you an instructor, and then they just come on board. And then at the same time, we talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. So we say, you want to become an engineer, okay, but you can also be an investor and a businessman at the same time as you're also an engineer as well. So we're also taking down the road of I would say teaching them at home. Right, so the way we want to do it is we don't really want to follow the normal traditional way we've been teaching children here in Uganda. We want to teach them at home, but also teach them more practical skill sets as well. So with mental health, she's been teaching them mental health. Like she gets art pieces and stuff and like, okay, come and paint. And then she teaches them breathing techniques. Okay, breathe in, out, in a sense. And then for me, on some occasions, I just bring my laptop and I'm like, type your name. I just tell them, type your name. Okay, type a sentence, in a sense. Now for me, I'm more in the technology side of things. So if he learns how to read and other things, then probably he can learn how to code as well, or she can learn how to code as well. So just introduce these things to them. Let make it fun for them. Don't constrict them.
You want to be a doctor, you must read. You must read. You must perform well. That's the only way you're going to become a doctor. you involve yourself in their
Just
lives.
involve
Yeah.
yourself in their lives. Then also, when we had a pharmacy business, my wife would bring the children to the pharmacy business and just be around. And then my wife would play doctor with our daughter, Precious. And then she would be like, "Hey, Precious, you are a Musao." I'm like, "Yes, I am a Musao. So give this person medicine." You get it? Because she was like, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. You never know, maybe she'll change. But then I think it's the roles of us, the parents, not to say, "No, don't be a doctor. I want you to be a lawyer. No, I don't want you to do this, do
Yeah.
this." Let your children explore till they get bored, I would say, about something. But also at the same time, there's a thin line, because there's sometimes when you can overly expose your child and then they grow up when nothing really motivates them, I would say, maybe because of constricted them or because of explored so many things. But also teach them how to create value in other people's lives. Now that's the most important thing. Much in the same way in our previous talk we talked about getting 10% and blessing other people. In the same way, teach your children how to help other people, how to solve other people's problems or solve challenges that other people might be experiencing. Because now that no one can lead down a certain career that you never even thought or even imagined could even happen for your child, or even what you planned for them as well. So teaching your children how to solve problems for other people, and also for them, also for other people as well. Now that adds value to their lives.
Yes, nice. Yeah, so that sums it up for the discussion. I hope you've picked out a leaf or two from this discussion, especially creating habits, especially getting involved with your children's lives, so that you can create a vision for them that they will sit well with, not something that you just put onto them. Yeah, that's it. Catch you in the next video.